Hi, I'm Bridgette and I'm back. Little bit of housekeeping first before we get started. I am hormonal, so I'm feeling especially brutal. Having said that, I do think my brutality is warranted for certain people in this episode. Next, just to let you know, of course, if you want to mention spoilers in the comments, that's absolutely fine. I will not be reading them. I can sort of tell what's a spoiler, and what I do is I just gloss over it and I basically pretend they're not there. Not because I don't respect yours opinion, I'm just not there yet within the series. If you're out on the road. So Rory and Dean are now kind of seeing each other, and Dean kisses Rory in the grocery store. We discover that Dean is also slightly quick to anger, so we definitely need to keep an eye on that. Rory talks incessantly about the kiss with her good friend Lane, but doesn't talk at all about it with her mother, her best friend. Lorelai throws a tantrum over a fridge in a sleigh outfit, and it actually made her kind of likeable. Lorelai's likability swiftly dissipates when she salts over Rory not telling her about the kiss and has to be stopped by Luke before she catches a stalking case. Lorelai asks Dean to movie night without asking her daughter's permission, much like something Emily Gilmore would do. Dean comes over to watch some Oompa Loompas and eat precisely 0 vegetables, not counting the ones on the pizza, and despite Lorelai being there, Rory does end up having a great date with Dean.
And that's what you missed on
Gilmore Girls. Now, let's get on with the mess. So, the annoying residents of Stars Hollow are attending some sort of like town meeting. And remember that guy from the last episode who was telling Luke that he needs to put up fall decorations? That guy Taylor, well, he's there. And the one thing I've noticed about Taylor, he's more annoying than I initially thought. He's whiny, spoiled and long-winded. He keeps going on about there being a no parking zone in front of his store, and it's evidently because he wants to be able to be the only one that can park there, and it's boring. The Gilmore Girls are sitting in the audience with snacks, and they are acting like they are watching a movie. They are literally like, would it be something I would find entertaining? Hell no. But it is a small town after all, there's not a lot to do. Now, a quick pan around the town meeting, and I'm seeing hella diversity. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4 people of colour, and I said, okay, Gilmore Girls. I mean, I'm sure I will never ever see these people ever again, and they will never have any lines, but for a split second I was impressed. So the mayor of the town gets up to speak, and he is even more dull than Taylor. Apparently it's the anniversary of the legendary Battle of Stars Hollow. The Gilmore Girls are watching Luke, and it looks like they're waiting for him to spontaneously combust. He's clearly getting riled up, and they call it because suddenly he bursts.
For God's sake, do we have to go through this every damn year?
He basically can't cope with the dry talk about the Battle of Stars Hollow, and I can't say I blame him, and he wants to actually address the town's issues in the town issue meeting. So obviously I agree with Luke. Who's surprised? Luke would have basically had the moral high ground because he's talking about how the people who came in and liberated Stars Hollow basically stole it from other people. A likely story. We love a cultured man. The mayor gets all Trump on us and says if Luke doesn't like America, he should basically leave. I really got to give it to the writers for the time. They were actually addressing So we're back at the Gilmore Girls' house. Now, please don't burn me at the stake for this, but how do we really feel about grown woman and pigtails? I know Suki rocks them with the bandana, but I am not feeling them on Lorelai. In fact, I hate it so much. Anyway, it looks like it's absolutely freezing outside, but Lorelai decides to open the window and let the gale force winds blow into her house. And people, that is how I know she has money. Because that could absolutely never be me. With the rising cost of heating?
Absolutely not.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Leaving creepy messages on the answering phone. I'm going to give you 3 guesses. Yes, it's Max Medina. It turns out that they haven't actually been able to organise a date yet, and they keep missing each other. And honestly, people, he hasn't even appeared in the episode. It's just his voice, and I cannot believe I used to find that man attractive. His voice is doing my head in.
Bye, Lorelai. Gilmore.
And he still insists on using Lorelai's full government name. It's not cute.
Let it go! Let it go!
Lorelai enjoys his voice. So Rory wakes up and she comes down and she's like, why on earth is the window wide open in the middle of the night? Like, are you a mad woman? She doesn't say it like that, but you get the gist. And Lorelai's like, take a deep breath. It's the first snow. Again, why is Rory having to be the parent in this situation? This is some bullshit. Ultimately, Lorelai pays the bills, I guess. But why would you want to give you and your beloved daughter hypothermia? So at this point, Lorelai has been listening to Max Medina's voice message over and over again. And Rory is like, why? And she's like, I'll stop listening when he stops being sexy. I would also just like to remind everyone that she is Rory's mother and Max Medina is Rory's teacher. Just throwing it out there. Don't mind me. So the next day we're back at the inn and yay, Michelle's back. Ugh, I have missed him so much. He is a man after my own heart. He is not here for the snowstorm.
Thrilling sensation of getting lost in a blizzard, of freezing to death in the woods and having to eat your friend's buttocks to stay alive. That is lost on many people.
So Rory and Lane turn up after school and Lane is dressed like...
And this one time at band camp,
And I'm going to be honest, I'm already irritated by Rory. So you know how in the last episode, Rory went on and on about her kiss with Dean and Lane listened intently like a good friend, right? That's what friends do. Lane is trying to talk to Rory about this guy she likes called Rich Bloomingfield. And I'm interested, but for some reason, Rory is not. She's hella distracted. She's looking for her chemistry book instead of listening to her friend. And then when she does eventually start listening to Lane, she's really disparaging of her. And I hate this for Lane. Ugh, I knew Rory's niceness wouldn't last. So Rory asks for some cookies from Suki. Oh, that kind of rhymes. And Lorelai sort of realises that they're not the kind of cookies that Rory usually goes for. So they're like, okay, you don't really like Rocky Roads. And it turns out that Rory is getting them for Dean like a trad wife. Anyway, Rory is still ignoring her best friend and I cannot stand it.
Hi,
hi,
Lane.
Dean.
Nice hat.
Okay, let me be so clear. If you start seeing a guy and he is rude to your friends, immediately stop seeing him. Is Rory actually okay? She has known this guy for 2 minutes. Lane has been her best friend for years and she is allowing him to speak to her like that.
Lane, Dean likes Jane Austen.
What is his problem? Why are you looking at her like that? Okay, I need to calm down. I'm hormonal, but I'm flabbergasted and also I want to punch Dean, but what's new there? And when he delivers this...
Here.
Oh, how'd you like it?
Well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
I actually believe him. Whew. Anyway, Rory and Dean are acting like Lane doesn't exist. And honestly, the two of them can rot together.
Yeah, I said it.
How dare they do this to Lane? You wait until we get to the character analysis chart. So back at the Independence Inn and...
Guess who's back? Back again.
Emily Gilmore. I am so relieved to see her so we can actually have some fabulosity back in this bit. So she calls to warn Lorelai about the snowstorm that's about to hit Stars Hollow and she says, look, my driver's going to pick up Rory from school for Friday night dinner because obviously it's too dangerous. The roads are treacherous. This obviously means that Lorelai gets to get out of Friday night dinner, which I'm sure she's just devastated about. So the men are reenacting the Battle of Stars Hollow and Luke is still less than impressed. And honestly, guys, I think I'm in love. Lorelai sees Luke and she starts chewing his ear off about the magic of snow, blah, blah, blah. And Luke indulges her. And to be honest, he's clearly in love with her, which is infuriating. Anyway, he invites Lorelai in for a coffee and she's like, nah, I'm good. What is wrong with this woman? This guy is not creepy, indulges her whimsical nature, keeps her in coffee and is super hot. But no, you would rather spend the evening rocking back and forth like you're wearing a straitjacket with the window wide open, listening to some creepy guy leave you a voice note on your answer machine at home who also happens to be your daughter Rory's teacher at school. Lorelai Gilmore will be Lorelai Gilmore, I guess. Some people don't deserve good things. So Lane is playing in the school band and she sees her crush and she starts daydreaming and accidentally strokes his hair. Now, I'm not condoning non-consensual touch, but I do think if Rory had paid more attention to her in the first place and been a better friend, then Lane would have got it out of her system and she probably wouldn't have gone to those lengths and be about to catch an assault case. So naturally, I blame Rory and Dean. So Lorelai's walking home in the snow and she spots Max Medina and she obviously thinks it's some sort of snowy miracle. But it just turns out that his car got stuck on the way home. Now, if you knew you were going to be driving through the town of your supposed crush, would you not make a pit stop anyway to say hello? The man was driving through. You've made such a big deal about how you keep missing each other. 5 minutes, you could have just stopped off and said, oh, should we grab a coffee? It's looking like he's not that bothered about her. Anyway, they decide that as they're both there, there's no time like the present and they should just go on their stupid date. So back at the grandparents' house and Emily is vexed because the cook can't get to the house because of the snowstorm. And clearly, Emily has never thought about cooking in her life. Richard is a man of very few words, but as we discovered in the golfing episode, when he needs to deliver, my man is going to deliver.
Rory, are you in any way malnourished or in need of some international relief organization to recruit a celebrity to raise money on your account?
I'm good.
She's good.
Anyway, I'm not going to judge Emily for not cooking. It really is looking like a case of like mother like daughter because as forementioned, we have not even seen Lorelai so much as cut an onion. So Rory takes them to the fridge and they're like, oh my God, there's nothing in there. But you can see that there's loads of packaged up food. I think one of the labels says lamb chops. It looks like there's literally pre-prepared food. But all Rory sees is the frozen pizza. She is her mother's daughter after all. Rory acts like she's really about to make them a delectable feast. Ma'am, you were putting pizza in the oven. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So Max and Lorelai go on their date and they're talking about past relationships, etc. Look, I'm feeling irritable, okay? Hormones and Max Medina's smug face will do it. At the grandparents' house, Rory goes sneaking around Lorelai's childhood bedroom and she finds a picture of her mum and dad, presumably from back in the day before she was born. Yes, Rory, your parents had a life before you. The whole world doesn't revolve around you. I am a little bit confused here because with all the money that Emily and Richard have, why has Lorelai's bedroom not been touched and redecorated? She didn't die. You don't need to leave it as is. She just turned into an adult and you didn't visit. Lane calls Rory from the Gilmore Girls' house. I guess she has a key. She lets Rory know that Rory has been a best friend. Good for you, Lane. Stand in your truth. Stand on business. Rory doesn't immediately take responsibility and just tries to come in with some excuses, which is annoying but to be expected. Anyway, the phone goes dead because of the snowstorm and Emily is freaking out because the pizza's ready and she can't cope. Date night for Lorelai and Max Medina is actually a really cute movie night in what looks like a library and they kiss and whatever. So the pizza ends up going down really well with the grandparents and Rory brings in an old family picture album downstairs and they're going through the pictures and... This picture of their wedding looks insane. It's kind of a nice moment as they're reminiscing about the past. They come across a picture of Lorelai wearing like this ball gown. I think it was like a debutante thing. But evidently, Lorelai must have got pregnant and missed it. Whoopsie. The lovely Luke brings hot drinks to the guys who are still insisting on reenacting the battle, even though it is a massive snowstorm and they are freezing. And after getting everybody's hot drinks order, he looks up and he spots Lorelai with Max Medina. And oh, my heart actually breaks for him. Luke, forget that woman. She's an absolute nightmare. You had a lucky escape. So Max walks Lorelai home and says he just wants to come in for a coffee. A likely story. Anyway, Lorelai's kind of uncomfortable about this because she doesn't really bring men home. It's giving pressure from Max. She is a mother worrying about the fact that her teenager lives with her. Her teenager who you teach. What don't you get? Sleep in your bloody car, you twat. Anyway, she relents and they end up having a steamy kiss indoors. But what we forget and what they don't know is that Lane is still in the house and she walks out of Rory's room and she catches them kissing on the stairs. Lorelai realizes that Lane is feeling angsty because she's playing the cure. And so she leaves Max for a minute and she goes in to check on Lane, which is the right thing to do. So when she goes in the room, Lane is super upset and she confides in Lorelai about touching that boy's hair. I love Lane. I feel so sad for her. But Lorelai manages to make her feel a little bit better and she does actually give her some decent advice, I will admit, and she decides that she's not going to sleep with Max because it wouldn't be right, and dare I say it, she does do the right thing. So Max stays on the couch and Lorelai wakes up with perfect makeup. She is a Gilmore girl after all. And Rory comes home and cannot fathom that her English teacher is lying on her couch, which is fair, but my empathy for Rory has run out during this episode. I actually don't care. Lorelai and Rory end up having a conversation how this won't be a habit. She's not going to just bring people home willy-nilly. And Lane wakes up and yes, Rory does end up apologizing for her outrageous behavior. It's a little too late if you ask me, but Lane is a wonderful person and forgives her on sight. And then Max acts like he's living at the Gilmore Girls house by the end of this episode.
Go home, Roger.
Move, Max. And then Rory takes out that picture of her mum and dad and looks at it sadly. And that's the end of the episode. Right, Rory is at the bottom of the pile because she is the worst friend ever. Lorelai's obsession with Snow was irritating, as was her ignoring how sweet Luke was, but it is her prerogative, I suppose, and she was there for Lane. Lane is bae, gorgeous, gorgeous girl, we love. Max Medina, smug, pushy and irritating, down you go. Luke is about his morals, about his business, and he needs to move on from Lorelai. And Dean goes straight in the bin. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support. I am having a ball making these videos, even if they do take 7 business years to make. It's worth it. Okay, bye.
If you want me to watch more of Gilmore Girls than ever before, subscribe.